The Green Knight is a medieval retelling fantasy story of Sir Gawain as he sets out on a quest to fulfill his destiny after a run-in with the Green Knight a year earlier. Welcome back to the channel, guys. Thank you so much, guys, for clicking this video. I really do appreciate it. I've never really been that much of a huge fan of the medieval genre. I may have said this in past videos, but I just never really been a fan of it. It's just something that's never really caught my eye, never really caught my interest. I will watch on occasion, like The Northman, but I just never really been interested in it. I don't really have that much knowledge of the era. I know of a few historical figures like Camelot and King Arthur, but that's as far as I go. That's as far as you'll get out of me. I just never really been that big of a fanboy of it. It's just something about it I just never really been that keen on. So I didn't go, but a friend of mine did go see The Green Knight in theaters, and he said it was awesome. It was one of those that when he got done with it, he texted me as he said, "It was awesome. It's a must. You've got to go see it, otherwise you'll die with regrets." So, yeah, whenever he bought his 4K, he let me borrow it, and I watched it, and it's pretty decent. I do admit it does have its moments. Again, not a big fan of the genre. You know, like I said, I'll watch it on occasion, but I just never really been too keen on it. But my buddy really wanted me to see it, so this review is really for him, but mainly for all of y'all, but really for him. So if you're watching this, this is for you. I mean, why not? So starting off with my positives of The Green Knight, I do admit this film did look pretty cool. Again, I'm not that knowledgeable of this era, but I'm basically going on what Hollywood has shown me. I do imagine this is pretty much what it looked like back then. This was a time way before electricity, way before machinery came into play. I assume this movie probably took place in the 500s. I don't know, but it's pretty ancient. I can imagine that that's what it actually looked like, just like that Northman movie. I know I talked at length on that as well, on how good that looked. Goes for this one too. The way the film looked, it was pretty cool. The way it was shot, and there was some transitional shots too, which was weird, but it worked. It pretty much worked. And the atmosphere was cool. It looked pretty amazing. It had some really dark moments. Almost creepy even. This movie did kind of have a little bit of a horror vibe to it. Like, it showed this shot, and this is one shot that my friend showed me before I even watched the movie, so I knew this was in it. But there's this one shot where the guy gets tied up, and his horse gets stolen and his axe, and the camera just kind of pans around the forest. And then you see this corpse tied up in the same position he was. And then it goes back, and then you see him alive again. So there's like different moments in where he visits this house where the spirit asks for her head. And I'm thinking, what the hell is going on here? You have to really pay attention to this. And this is something else that my friend really warned me about before I watched this. You really have to pay attention to this movie to understand what's going on. Now, I got the gist of what was going on. This is something I may never watch again unless I'm with my friend watching it probably. But I got the gist. I was really paying attention just so I could get this review out. I mean, I would have paid attention to it regardless, but this is something that you really have to focus on to get what it was saying. But it's just creepy moments like that I did kind of appreciate. I did really appreciate the horror aspect that this film brought. Patel, who plays the main character of Gawain, did a pretty good job. He showed much emotion. Basically, after the small run-in, it wasn't really that big of a deal, but this small run-in with this Green Knight, this man-like thing that looks like a tree or something. More about him later, but he has a run-in with this Green Knight sort of creature, and then he goes on this quest of destiny, of courage. And that's what I got from this movie. He goes on this destiny of courage. And the way Dev Patel played this part, I was with him every step of the way. Him dealing with these obstacles, and these trials and tribulations that he goes through in this film, I was with him every step of the way. It was really noble in a way. And the Green Knight himself looked awesome. Though he's not in the movie that much, he's only in like 2 parts. But he looked pretty creepy. He's basically this tree-looking dude that comes and challenges this guy. But nothing really comes out of it, though. He just basically lets him kill him. But he says 1 year hence, which means you'll have to come back and get the same penance.
1 year hence.
I mean, more about that little segment later, but the Green Knight himself looked pretty awesome. I wish he was in it a little more. He looked pretty awesome. It was just this base creature-like thing that challenges this guy, but that's all you get. But he looked pretty amazing. He looked pretty cool. As mentioned before, and I know I'm beating a dead horse at this point in the review, I just never really was a huge medieval genre fan. And that's mostly due to its overly drawn out nature, which is my first negative. It was so slow, and I know most of y'all that has watched this is not the point of it, but I'm just not used to all the long drawn shots and just I just felt like a lot of the things in this movie just overstayed its welcome. And I know, again, that wasn't the point. That's mostly moot, but it's just not really never been my thing. I get most of the things that the character was doing in this. His test of courage and trials and tribulations that he was going through this film. I get it. It's just never been my cup of tea just watching just these slow, drawn-out scenes. I'm sorry to say it, but it's true. It's just how I feel. It is what it is. I'm just not used to all that. I knew what I was getting into, so I did brace myself, but still, I'm not going to ignore it. Plus, the other characters, other than the main character, I didn't quite care about. It just didn't feel like they built them up enough for me to care. I know it was pretty much based on one man, but I just really didn't feel like most of the other characters had a place. I just didn't really feel that much for them. Plus the ending, and I know this movie had a lot to do with courage and what this guy had to go throughout, but the ending to me didn't really make sense. And I know I'm being kind of hypocritical when I say this, but the ending showed one thing, and then it transitions back to what you thought happened. Without giving too much away, I'm sorry if I am. I'm trying to hold back. But the way the movie ended before the end credits, I didn't really feel like that was necessary. Now again, I know that wasn't the point, but it could have made it another way without it ending the way it did. But that's just me. That's just me. So I can't say any more without giving too much away, because this is still a fairly new film. It came out like last year, but I just felt like the ending could have ended another way, if you get what I'm saying. In the end, guys, I didn't hate The Green Knight. It wasn't the most boringest, the most terrible film that I've seen. It still shined in its moments. It still had plenty of moments that I appreciated, like the horror aspect and just the all-out, trying to figure out what's going on, the mystery behind it. I did appreciate that, so it wasn't a total loss. For historians and those who likes this kind of genre, I'm sure you'll be pleased, but for the rest of you, I'd go on the fence. So, The Green Knight, what was your thoughts of it? Were you a fan? Are you a fan of this type of genre? Did you find enjoyment with this type of medieval genre, or it's just not for you at all? Leave me a comment down below and give me your thoughts. Thank you so much, guys, once again for watching this video. I really appreciate it. Like, subscribe, comment, and share the big 4 as always. And I will see you on the next one. Peace.